But, you know, I wanted to just say a few words real fast because I've had the distinct honor and privilege of being friends with Katrina for a very long time now. Jessica earlier mentioned going cross country, and the three of us did in fact do that. We went across country on tour, and we got to do poetry in a lot of different venues, including the Green Mill, where we did not fuck up. We did not fuck up at the Green Mill. But you know, the thing is that I want to say thank you to Katrina because I think she's a really amazing person and really a very inspirational person between teaching and being involved in the community and all of the work. Guys, I go to these Rio Rancho events and have been going for years along with Jesus Lucero and Emily and Sally, and we've been going out there and really being able to see what Katrina has done with these youth and these poets. And you heard some of it tonight, but I'm telling you that's the tip of the iceberg for what she's been doing out there with those kids. So I'm going to ask you to please give it up for Katrina one more time because I really think she deserves more than one round of applause. Katrina has made 2 dreams come true for me, so I'm going to just share those and then do a poem. The first dream is, you know, I'm kind of overly sensitive. I'm a Pisces and a poet, so I'm fucked. But Katrina has been an amazing friend, and one of the dreams she's fulfilled for me is really helping me to believe again in a friendship that is so true and so deep and so binding that it survives everything, including my own bad jokes and irritable, you know, presence. They're bad, the jokes, I'm telling you. The other dream is we recently released a book called Trigger Warning, Poetry Saved My Life, and that's actually, thank you. That's something we've been wanting to do for years. I've been wanting to do for years because I've always heard the stories and I wanted to collect them in one place for people to hear. So we did. We've got stories from Patricia Smith and Stevie Edwards and John Blake, and I mean just amazing writers, poets laureate across the country. All talking to that theme. And so I'm going to do my poem from that book tonight because without Katrina, this poem would never have been published. And I think it says something about why poetry is important, especially for young kids. A letter to myself at 6 years old. Pick a memory. Any memory. Trigger warning. A shock of red hair and fists as hard as his mother's. What little boy doesn't want to know how his blood tastes? Like chicken gizzards on Sunday. Like Uncle Earl, smashed over the head with the cinder block by his brother. Drunk at the last family gathering, Earl, who smiled through his teeth, said, "You need to leave now before I get angry." Remember the way his eyes closed over the light? Guillotines. Life does this to some guys. Guys like Uncle Ray, who cut another man's head off with their army knives by accident in bar fights. Remember how he tried to walk away, but the drunken idiot smashed a chair across his skull. Do not try and count the number of blows the men in our family have taken to the head. Remember instead that we were made thick, capable of absorbing punishment. Remember how he refused the self-defense plea. Guilty. How he wanted to serve the full sentence for his crime. By some strange math, the men in my family measured the strength of their beliefs by the length of their convictions. Half of the men we know will go to prison before you're 10 years old, leaving our mother to raise us by herself. The starburst in her eyes like red balloons, exploding quietly in a wind only she could feel. The way her knuckle bones were divided, undiagnosed schizophrenia when finally revealed will make a mean sense of her hands. Trigger. The uncle who collects the spiders lets them crawl across your sister and you. I know. The way the small, sad flesh stirs beneath the pants makes it look like spiders live there too. When you hear that cancer ate his body in 20 years, all you can think of are tumors. If they grew legs beneath the surface, how much they would look like spiders. Warning. As hard as it is for you to make friends now, most of them will be cold from kissing their own stones before you're 40 years old. The streets are filled with things people lose. The night is full of people we lose. We cannot afford to lose anymore. So we will not polish these triggers with our mother's thumbs. We will not finger our pain and scars left over from childhood. We will not be like the men in our families, thick with anger. When you enter recovery at 25, do not pull the trigger on the past, hoping these memories will die. Trigger warning. You survived. You are too familiar with weapons, but you are not one of them. Child, listen. Do not make daisy chains out of triggers. They will do nothing for you. They serve no purpose, so leave them where you find them, the poems. The poems will save your life. Thank you.
Keep on clapping. Keep on clapping for the next poet on the stage. Member of the 2014 Albuquerque Poetry Slam team. Make some noise for Mr. Rich Boucher.
You know, thank you all for coming tonight. I'd like to say a word about Katrina. I don't know, is she still even here? Is she still here? We don't know, we can't tell. And I just wanted to say a word about her.
There she is in front of you.
And that word is a croissant. I do think that tonight does show that there are some people in Rio Rancho who are really, really, really wrong about Katrina. And they will burn in the flames of hell. This is new. This is my friend. This is something personal, and I wanted to kind of just bare my soul to you, as you've done for all of us. This is a little bit about the time before I was a baby. A lot of people have it bad when they're born. But I had it very bad. Very worse. And I had it badder than you. I had it a lot very worse than you. When we were younger, my generation and I, when we came out of our mothers, the doctors used to hold us up by gripping our hind feet together, holding us high in the air, and smacking us on our asses so hard that we began to breathe. I'm told that doctors don't do that anymore. I'm not sure if this is true. And there is no way to know for sure. It was different when I was born. Things were different. Life was different. The world had only been in full color for maybe a week. Doctors were harsher and meaner then. They smoked while they worked. And these doctors had no fear of us. When I was born and I exited my mother, the doctor grabbed me by my neck, lifting me up in the air, squeezing his fingers tightly. He drew back with his right arm and punched me across the nose as hard as he could. I only knew of a few million other guys that had that happen to them. What made matters worse in my case was that I was a premium baby.
Maybe you don't know about this. But premium babies are called that because they're born very, very early. Typically 9 months earlier than the date of their own conception. And so they are very weak. I was a premium baby and needed help to get out of my mother. They had to give me a little wheelchair that they put inside of her that I could get on. And they built a little handicap ramp that came out of my mother so that I could use it. All of this because I was a premium baby. But the wheelchair and the handicap ramp, it wound up not working because they couldn't unlock the wheels. So what they tried instead with me was to fasten a truck winch to one of the tables in the operating room. And they attached some twine to the winch and wrapped up my feet in the other end of the twine and used the winch to try and pull me out of my mother. But premium babies can be very nervous about seeing light for the first time. And as most of my body was being pulled out of my mother, they told me later on that my little premium baby hands grabbed onto my mother's nether lips and tried to hold on and not be pulled out all the way. Premium babies have very delicate sensibilities. And so, as one of the stories goes, after the doctor punched me, as soon as I could breathe, I bit him in the mouth. I punched him in the crotch. I boxed his ears. I brandished a sword I found in my mother and challenged him to a duel. There was an incident and the police had to be called. It was very hard to be a premium baby. It was very difficult, extremely umber and troublesome. Babies who were born premium produce milk for their own mothers. But in my case, the milk was soy. And my mother never took to it. She told me it wasn't delicious and that I was a bad baby. I was a premium baby and I was a bad one. And now I'm just here, outside in the cold air of the city, and I'm waiting for the city bus. I'm always waiting for the city bus. All of us who used to be premium babies, we have to wait for the city bus. And we have to wait forever. I love you, Katrina.
God bless you, my son.
I'm the geriatric part of the show. Are you gonna replace me? Nah. Should Satan teach our children? Katrina Guarascio is a former Rio Rancor Cleveland High School teacher and poet whose real name is S-A-T-A-N. Guarascio wanted to make the classroom a safe place where students could express themselves freely. Satan. Can you believe that? In her creative writing class, Satan Guarascio asked her students to take a fairy tale or legend and rewrite it for our own enlightened, forgiving, tolerant, and compassionate times. One of the kids in her class compared the story of Jesus, the loaves and fish in the Bible, to Jesus handing out medical marijuana to patients today. It's an A student. Satan must have suggested this response to the kid because when this paper was read during class peer critique,
Another God-fearing and upstanding child went home and told her upstanding and God-fearing parents that Satan was teaching their child to think critically. There's absolutely nothing God hates more than critical thinking. God says critical thinking is a hallmark of the evil one. I did not know that Satan Guarascio had been placed on administrative leave prior to her untimely departure for perhaps, maybe, possibly, 1, having a student's parent complain about ungodly activities in her creative writing class, or was it 2, allowing, condoning, and promoting dangerous peer review, or was it 3, fucking swearing and fucking sexual references in her fucking classroom, or was it 4? I forget what the 4th, 6th, and 8th thing was, but Guarascio did it, and she was guilty just like everyone in the Inquisition is guilty. Yes, students should learn godly things they will find useful in life, things that are unpleasant, pragmatic, or tension-filled as possible. Practical information such as that found in the new state-required PARCC test. Here's a question from the exam, so you can get an idea of how useful this will be to students, just like the students in Miss Satan Guarascio's class. Members of a cross-country team run an obstacle course. The following table, put together by God, tells you their visible score matrices. 585, 489, 385, 697, 571. Memorize this number. You will be given a slider to create your own number, which will serve as your password in life. If you forget the first number, you will have a heart attack before you are 60. But you will not die. You will live on forever and ever and ever. If you forget your password, however, you will drop out of school from boredom and anger, and you will become a thug or a terrorist. That's why these very holy, very righteous, very pious parents complained to the Rio Rancor school board that Satan Guarascio was teaching their child that the classroom is a safe place where you can express yourself, when we all know damn well that the classroom is a hostile, cold place where only the truly righteous and truly strong survive. The school board wanted to make sure that Satan Guarascio got the message. She did, and she resigned, and that's how we treat teachers who don't take responsibility for what their students think and who are foolish enough to make the classroom a safe place to discover new ideas. Thank you very much.
Yeah, only the diehards are here. I will say, I'll start with a truism. The Rio Rancho schools will never, ever hire Gluckman, Boucher, or Burbank. And they got rid of Niven. So, but you're in such good company, and so am I. I didn't meet Katrina until this evening, but if I'm allowed to be, I'm very proud of you. Okay. All right, last poet standing. It's a hard act to follow. I wish I'd have brought something humorous, but I didn't. But laugh anyway. Anyways, been a privilege. And I thank Bill for inviting me. Okay, this is an occasional poem written for this occasion. And it's called Tongue. The fleshy, muscular lump grooved into the lower jaw. Sharp, articulate, sinewy flame, forked, sinuous deceiver. Sine qua non to poetry's upright bones. Holds. The sandhill cranes echo against the winter's sky. The coyote's muzzle tilted toward the full moon. The word to the roof of Earth's mouth. This spongy spit of land can be rooted, ripped, or sliced out. But we'll bunch up these finely articulated fingers and this opposable thumb into a fist. Thank you.
Make some noise, clap your hands, let me hear you. First, I'd like to thank Katrina. You know what? You've done so much for this art form here in Albuquerque. Not only for the art that you create and share with us, but encouraging and giving all us poets good words and warm hugs, going out of your way and breaking your back to help us get published and to put our words out in that way, and teaching your students to express themselves sincerely and honestly. On behalf of everybody, I want to thank you and show you some respect. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the New Mexico Revolutionary Poets Brigade, the New Mexico State Poetry Society, the South Broadway Cultural Center, the Albuquerque City Office of Cultural Affairs, and all of you for coming to hear us. Please come next month for the Resolana Hope with Si Hassin. Next month, come check it out in the same bat time, same bat place. I don't know if it'll be the same bat channel, but we'll see. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Bill, for having this for us. Give Bill Nevins a round of applause. Thank you.